Welcome to Get the Balance Right, a podcast for creative entrepreneurs looking to grow their business in a healthy, sustainable way. I'm your host, Heather Zeitzwolf, CPA and business advisor. Each week, you will learn actionable steps to streamline your processes, increase your profits, and make a bigger impact as a purpose-driven leader. Join me in conversations with CEOs and renegades in digital media, marketing, advertising, and design. Want to ignite your passion for business? Then let's get started. Hello and welcome to another episode of Get the Balance Right podcast. I am your host, Heather Zeitzwolf. If this is the first time you're checking out this show, then welcome to my podcast party. Today's show is about getting help in your business. As entrepreneurs, we like to think we can do it all. Maybe we can, but it's at the cost of working 60 to 70 hours a week. I want you to do something. Check your legs. Okay, you checked them out? Are you wearing tights? If not, I'm sorry to inform you that you're not a superhero, so you can stop pretending to be one in your business. If you're doing it all yourself, it's time to get help. Even Batman has Robin and his butler Alfred. In episode 22 with guest Elise Tager, we discussed the importance of letting go of tasks and to stop clinging on to being a worker bee in your business. I get it, you're a hard worker, but you and me, we don't need to do it alone. Today's guest is Cindi Knight, an expert in helping entrepreneurs get back their time and sanity by matching up tasks with the right people. Cindi's background was in marketing as a project manager, but now she runs a successful temp agency called Girl Friday Personal Assistant Services. Cindi helps match business owners with reliable and vetted folks who can perform one-off tasks like picking up a package to ongoing services such as a virtual assistant. Whether you need your video edited or your carpet cleaned, Cindi can provide the right someone with experience for a plethora of tasks. In this episode, Cindi and I address the reasons why entrepreneurs are hesitant to hire jobbers, some of the misconceptions of farming out work, and the benefits of freeing up your time for more impactful work and leisure. Last week, if you caught that episode, I made a bold statement. Do you remember what it was? I declared to the world that I was now on a mission to bring more work-life balance, not only to my life, but to yours as well. This might be a lofty goal. After all, many people believe work-life balance is a myth. But lots of people think Bigfoot is a myth, and I believe in him. So the idea that I can have a balanced life seems totally in the realm of possibilities. What about you? Myth or real? All right, let's start with Bigfoot. I'm sure you've seen the video footage and the plaster casts of the footprints. Need I say more? I live in the Pacific Northwest, which is Bigfoot country. So I'm in the land of believers. Plus, did you know Bigfoot is a vegan? So he or she has my stamp of approval. Now the more elusive one, work-life balance. Myth or real? If you believe it's a myth, then I'm sorry to tell you, you're never going to achieve it. Wah, wah, wah. So do me a favor and throw that cockamamie idea out the window. You and me have a pact now. Pinky swear, we're both going to work towards achieving and maintaining a healthy work-life balance. Pinky swear, if we don't make this a goal, it's never going to happen. I'm going to repeat this. If you and I don't make work-life balance a goal, then it's never, and I mean never, gonna happen. And friend, if you're just keeping your fingers crossed, hoping to win the lottery, I got some news for you. Forget the lottery ticket dreams, because you have a better chance of running into Bigfoot on a jog in the woods than hitting the Powerball. Okay, so we are in agreement. We're making work-life balance a priority, and we're creating the goals to achieve it. But where do we start? Brainstorm! I want you brainstorm the hell out of this. If you need some direction, don't worry, I have got your back. First, we need to figure out what we're spending our time on and the type of tasks. Then we need to build processes around those tasks so we can unload them onto someone else. This may sound monumental, but once you get these processes figured out and documented, oh man, you're a giant step closer to hanging out by a pool, sipping a drink, served in a coconut with an umbrella. All right, let's start with what you can outsource. I'm talking about the stuff that's not part of your job description. As an entrepreneur, we need to be focused on sales, developing products and services, public speaking, developing and hosting webinars, networking, etc., etc. I'm talking about the stuff that moves the needle, all the high-level stuff that requires you. Okay, first, let's look at all the things in your business that you can easily outsource, such as bookkeeping, marketing, web design, graphic design, podcast editing, and IT. These tasks can be hired out to experts in their fields. By the way, if you need help with bookkeeping, hello! That's one of my services I provide. Send me a DM on Instagram or LinkedIn if you want to learn more about it, or you can set up a discovery call with me by following the link in the show notes. Okay, that's my plug. After you start outsourcing the big stuff, now it's time to examine all the stuff that keeps you on the hamster wheel and takes you away from really focusing on your business. I totally understand. I'm in here with you. What are the type of tasks that keep you in the weeds? Get out a whiteboard or a piece of paper and write a laundry list of all the tasks that you do that are non-revenue generating. These tasks will probably range from mind-numbing data entry to more administrative. Many of these tasks will require skill and expertise, and perhaps you've developed these skills and you really enjoy these tasks. But just because you can do these things and you find pleasure in them doesn't change the fact that your time could be better spent generating revenue. When you think of administrative tasks, how many hours do you spend currently doing this stuff in your business? The answer is too many. It's just too many. I have the same problem, but things are going to change and you and I are getting help. Whether it's an admin or virtual assistant, we're doing it. Oh, wait, are you hesitating? Oh, I get it. You're afraid the assistant won't understand your methods or it will take too long to train them. I get it. I can be a control freak too. But remember, our pinky swear. You and me, pinky swear. We're going to write down our processes or make videos of our processes or however you want to do it. Just get it documented. Personally, for my processes, I find using online tools is a godsend. I like using Notion because I can build out my processes with actual functionality. I built out all of my podcast processes in Notion, and it has allowed me to hire a podcast assistant. Notion is a great tool because it has a free option and the paid version is very inexpensive. And I love cheap. One of my other favorite tools for developing processes is Miro. If you're a visual person, you will love it. You can build flowcharts, add pictures, and share your pages with teams. Miro is also low cost and has tons of templates that you can use or tweak. Both Notion and Miro can be shared, which allows you to build dynamic processes that you can change over time. Okay, I know I'm geeking out. I'll reel it back. So if that's not your thing, then you can just use Word or Google Doc. But if you'd like to check out Notion or Miro, I have links to the software in the show notes. If you're thinking, Heather, building processes sounds like a big job. Bingo! It is. But once you've got those things documented, then you're good to go and one step closer to drinking out of that coconut. All right. To dig deeper into the subject and to answer all of your burning questions, because I asked them, here is my conversation with Cindi Knight from Girl Friday Personal Assistant Services. Cindi Knight, welcome to Get the Balance Right podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you because we're going to be talking about a really important topic, which is to offload some of the work that entrepreneurs have onto somebody else so that they can get busy in their business.
That's right. It is the best thing you'll ever do for yourself.
I know I've started to do that this year and it's been amazing. I can actually have some time to work on other things that I want to work on.
Yes, that's exactly it. And it's a game changer.
For the people in the audience that don't know who you are, Cindi, can you just tell a little bit about yourself and your business?
Sure. So my name is Cindi Knight. I live in South Pasadena, and my company is called Girl Friday Personal Assistant Services. That's what we are. We're personal assistants, but we're more than that. We do a lot of everyday things that would be considered mundane: dog walking, picking up your mail, picking up your dry cleaning. And then we also do things that are very skilled, depending on what the needs are in the business and family communities.
How long have you been running this business? Quite a few years.
Yes, this is our 9th year. So it started with just me, and I used to do almost everything myself. There were things obviously I could not do because I'm not a handyman or a wallpaper hanger or anything like that. Our services were very concise and it was a very limited list. And now 9 years later, we have 150 people working with us. I just run it and manage it. I don't really do any of the work myself because I don't have time.
That's a good situation to be in. The people that work with you, they have virtual skills and then also local.
That's right. Yes. So we have virtual assistants, we have in-person assistants. We have all kinds of tradesmen who can work in your office. We just hung some photos in someone's office because she had them leaning up against the wall for like 2 years. She sent me a picture and said, please come here and help me because I can't look at this anymore. They're all dusty. So my guy went over there, hung them all up. Her office looks great now. It really spans the gamut, but the goal is to customize for each client what they need the most.
Are you in Washington as well as California?
Yes. So during this crazy pandemic, one of my assistants actually moved back up to Seattle and started offering our services up there. So we have a small crew, and then we have a small crew in New York City as well. The greater goal is to be everywhere because all we hear from people is, I need help, I need help, I need help. We always get calls from people in other cities who don't know that we're not there. So that just tells me there's a great need for our services all over the place. So one day, hopefully, we'll be really spread out.
And what is the size of the scope for a job? Is there jobs that are just too small or too big? What if it only takes a couple of hours?
Yeah, no, there's no job too small or big. Typically, we do have a minimum number of hours on certain jobs, like the handyman is a 1 hour minimum. Cleaning, there are certain things that have minimum hours, but we've done very quick things that take 10 minutes because somebody is not there to do it. Can you go meet this person to get this package and put it on my porch? It might take 15 minutes. That's fine. That's what we do.
Wow. So you really are answering the needs of all kinds of situations. Hey there, this is Heather. I hope you're enjoying the podcast. And if you are, if you wouldn't mind, please hit the subscribe button now. That way you'll never miss an episode. All right, now back to the podcast. On your website, you offer anything from beehive removal to lifeguards for parties to podcast production.
Yes.
So you must work with a massive pool of people to pick and choose the skills needed.
Exactly. No, I do. And sometimes people come to me and say, hey, I can do X, Y, Z. Do you have a need for that? And we'll talk and we'll figure it out. And then I just throw it out there as another service. Some of the people who work with me are like a Jack or Jill of all trades. They know how to do so many different things. I love those people because you can just throw them in any situation. They're going to take care of it. And then some people just want to do one thing. And that's fine too, because they're an expert in that area and that's what they do. That works as well. There's 150 of us here, a few in Seattle and a few in New York. Between all of those, we can always find somebody.
All right, so let's get to the topic of offloading some of this work that all of us entrepreneurs were just buried in all of the time. And really, we need to be pinpointing our skills more in a direction that's going to drive our business rather than just getting caught in the weeds. To get this balance, we need to be able to offload some of this work. And hopefully you can help us with that kind of a situation. Sounds like you can offer all kinds of help. So what are some of the barriers that you think are holding entrepreneurs back from seeking this help?
I think the two biggest things that I see are control and money. So when you're an entrepreneur, as you know, when you start, especially, you just do everything yourself. That's what's involved in starting your own business. You're creating your baby. As time goes on, if your business grows, you then start to have more tasks. We didn't have a bookkeeper at first. Then as time went by, it was like, oh yeah, I can't do this. I have no idea what these numbers mean. We need a bookkeeper. As your company grows, which is a great thing, you need more support because you're the gardener of that company. You have to keep it growing and you have to maintain it. So you having a support staff allows you to do that. When you're right in there in the weeds and writing up an invoice, you just lost time to actually go out there and meet with a client or to call a client and do some follow-up. And the control thing is really hard because, again, it's our baby. We don't want anyone in there tinkering around with anything that we've created. But really, again, what it does is just gives you some time back to put back into the business to continue the growth. And everyone needs to be trained. Everyone does things differently. And that's what you do with your assistant. You tell them and show them how you like it done. And that's what they will do. You don't totally lose control. You're still in charge of your business and the way that it's run. But it's a mental block for a lot of people. And it was for me too. But I'm now the queen of jobbing everything out. I have so many people who help me. And it's great because then I can do things like this.
One of the things I always hear from people is they say, it will take me too long to train somebody, or I have my own processes. I can't really explain it to anybody else. How do you work through that with the people that you put on? I'm going to call it staff, but they're not staff. And we'll get into the logistics of everything. But how do you get over that hump with your clients?
Yeah, that's a hard one too, because I do hear that a lot. Like by the time I explain it to someone, I could have done it myself. But that's not really why you're hiring someone. You're hiring someone and you do have to train them most times. Like I said, everyone has their own way of doing things, but you're investing in your own time when you do that. By passing the torch, you again get back into being able to do what you want to do. And it does take time to establish that. You know, it's not the person's going to come and just immediately get in sync. That has happened for sure. But there's usually a little ramp up period. And I always tell clients, you know, just expect that. And it's normal. And it's okay for you to take time to explain it. And once they get it, you're done. You can move on and go to something else. But yes, we do hear that a lot. And again, that's just a mental shift that people have to make.
This is also a word of caution that entrepreneurs should have all of their processes written down so that anybody can come in and take over and do that job. And if they just take the time to put down their processes, you can hire somebody out and they can jump right in.
That's exactly true. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't do that until they're backed in the corner because, again, they know how to do it. So why do I need to write it down? But once you do that, you're right. It just develops a really great structure for your business. And that way anyone can step in and help you out.
I would say one of my hesitations would be that, so I train somebody like this, would I get the same person again going through a service like yours? Or there's probably no guarantee that I would get the same person? How do you work through that issue?
So it just depends. If you come to me and say, I need a personal assistant 5 hours a week, then it would be the same person because that would be an ongoing job that person would accept so that you can work with them and establish a relationship with them. Most of those end up becoming even more hours because once you start to fob things off on other people and you see that, oh my God, I have a free hour, or oh my God, I don't have to do that task that I really hate doing, but it's important. They tend to be able to let go of even more. Again, mind shift, but it's worth it for the end, which is that you have more time to grow.
I love that. I was thinking that maybe it'd be a different person filling in each time as a virtual assistant. And
yeah, if you have things like piecemeal, for example, we have some realtors that we work with and we process their mailings for them. So we stuff the envelopes, put the addresses on, take them to the post office, everything. That's always a different person because we never know when it's coming. It doesn't really matter on a job like that. So it just depends. If you have random tasks that are just one-off every couple of weeks, it'll be whoever is available and they're all equally skilled. But if you want it ongoing, then yes, you would have the same person.
Okay. So then that gets rid of that fear. Okay.
Yes, we're very flexible. So that's the other thing.
Now, what about feeling guilty? Do people feel guilty? Is that one of their hesitations?
Yes. Yeah, the big guilt is, why am I paying somebody to do this task, which I already know how to do? For example, like taking something to the post office, not bookkeeping, because only certain people know how to do that, but more of the kind of everyday running around. We have architects we work with, we pick up their plans and we deliver them. It's just really a question of, again, just understanding that you're not hiring somebody because you're incapable. You're hiring somebody because you're turning it around and giving yourself back time. It has nothing to do with your own skill set or abilities. And I think that's where people get stuck. And even on a personal level with things like house cleaning, a lot of women feel really guilty about hiring a housekeeper because, oh, I can do it myself. It doesn't matter. I can do it myself too. But I have a housekeeper. She's so happy to have the work. I'm so thrilled to have her because, again, I'm not spending that day cleaning my house. You kind of got to talk yourself down. And I do spend a lot of time with people outlining that, the benefits of just letting go and letting someone else come in. That just turns it around. All of a sudden you have 2 free hours on a Thursday that you've never had before.
I love that because entrepreneurs, it's not just about getting help in their business, but it's also getting help in their life because they oftentimes don't have time for that. Luckily, my husband loves to clean because otherwise my house would be a mess.
You are the luckiest woman I know then. I've never heard anyone say that.
Yeah, during tax season, I would have cobwebs everywhere, but my husband keeps those clean.
That's right. And that goes back to the balance too, because so many of these entrepreneurs, they're also moms. They're really, really struggling to find that balance because if they're not working, then they're with their family or they're doing something related to the house. But once they start unburdening themselves of tasks in both of those areas of their life, they have even more time. And that time might be spent with their kids, or it might be an extra 2 hours working on some big long-term goal for their business.
What about trust? Now, for me personally, I'm an accountant, so I'm dealing with people's very sensitive information. I would imagine I would not give that sort of work to a temp. Do people have trust issues? It is, again, their baby.
Oh, yeah. Yes, they definitely do. And we've signed many NDAs and we have a clause in the contract with our assistants that says that they have to maintain privacy. And so they do. And I'm really picky about who I hire. My first people who came on board with me were all people that I'd known for a long time. So there was no trust issue for me at that point because really I was handpicking people to join us. And now, of course, it's different. We have people who come from the outside, but my pool of people that work with me, they're always referring their friends and family as other assistants or other tradesmen to work with us. And that's a great way for me to hire because it's coming from a really trusted source. But we do run background checks on everyone. They have to sign their contract. I'm very careful. I do what I need to do. And knock wood, we've never had any break in that kind of trust or any issues to that extent. We take it really seriously.
That's wonderful. Now, for people that are having maybe like an ongoing virtual assistant through you, do the people that are hiring them, I'm putting in quotes because you're the one that's actually hiring them, do they get to meet them and check them out ahead of time?
Again, that really varies. Some people are like, just send me a body. I need some more hands over here. I'm drowning. We can do that. And then other people, especially if they want it to be ongoing, we want to make sure it's a good fit on both sides. With this crazy pandemic, we've been doing a lot of Zoom interviews so that the client has a chance to meet the assistant and vice versa. And they can decide together if it seems like a good fit. I've gotten pretty good at matching people up because I know my assistants so well. I know most of my clients really well now after all this time. When it's a new client, it's a little more challenging because I might not know exactly everything about them, but I try to ask a lot of questions up front to really understand what they need so that I'm sure I'm sending them the right person.
And what are the logistics as far as now these people work for you, so you're giving them the W-2. Just say that I hire somebody through you, then I would just pay you, and then I don't have to worry about filing payroll and all of that in California because it's actually going through you.
Exactly. Yep. We do all the billing. We just take care of it. And you don't have to ever pay somebody on the spot for what they're doing.
That's wonderful. I mean, from a tax perspective, once you hire somebody that's in another state, then you have Nexus and you have to deal with hiring in that state. They work for you, which is the key thing.
Yes.
That is key because when people think about hiring a virtual assistant and they are in a different state, they have to think about what the state laws are, but doing it through you we don't have to worry about that.
That's right.
An awesome thing. Yes, that is, to me, that's like the key selling point.
We make it as easy as possible from every angle, because that's really the point of what we're doing. We're trying to ease you of your burden. So we want to make it very accessible and very easy for everyone who comes to us.
One of the other challenges I would imagine for an entrepreneur, maybe a hump to get over, would be that if an assistant was coming to a brick and mortar office, then you could show them the ropes. You'd be able to sit down with them. They could jump on a computer. With a virtual assistant, how does it work with them getting into your software? Like, you'd probably have to buy another license for them to use. Are there challenges with that you see?
Yeah, I haven't seen any of that. Most of the VA clients we have, they're very willing to give up their passwords and let everybody log in from wherever they are. I let the client and the VA work that out as to what works best for both of them. And then the VA will just fill me in on what's going on. They're also capable, and I really like to empower them to have the relationship with the client themselves without me being in the middle, but knowing that I am here. And I do a lot of check-ins with the VAs and with the clients just to make sure that everything is going well. And usually if it's not, I will hear about it, because they want to change, or sometimes a client will ask an assistant, whether it's a VA or in person, to do something that was not really talked about up front. So sometimes they'll check in with me and say, okay, she would like me to blah, 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 but I don't really feel comfortable doing that. That's fine. I will go back to the client and say, she can't do that, but I have somebody else who can. And we might fill in that one little job with a one-time person to take care of it.
For virtual assistants, do you see a lot of them helping out with social media? Does that seem like one of the key things?
Yes, a lot of that, a lot of help creating ads, or even just going in. And I have my social media team. So they created a calendar for the entire year of what we're doing. They show it to me, I approve it, and then they just take care of it. I never have to think about it or worry about it. They know my style. They know our voice. The only thing I do is sometimes I send them photos of things that are, happening right now, and they might throw that in the stories, but they really do such a good job. And I just don't have to think about it, aside from thinking like, this is great. And I get so many compliments on our social media, and I always give them credit, because honestly, it really is them. And they come up with great ideas, and they do all the posting. Like I said, they write everything. Once in a while, they'll run something by me, but they're very capable. And I feel so comfortable just having them take care of it. And obviously that has freed up a lot of time for me.
Are those people actually on your team available to be hired out?
Yes. That's my team that I happen to work with, but there are other people within Girl Friday who do the same things.
Wow. Okay. I'm pretty sold on this. How does this work as far as pay goes? Is it by the hour? Is it by the job? How do you work that out?
Yeah, most jobs are hourly. And then there are some things that might be a flat rate, like a delivery would be a flat rate, because again, like it might take 10 minutes. And if you're going to get paid only for 10 minutes, nobody's going to do it. We have to make it worth their time. So typical assistance ranges between $20 and $26 per hour. I have a lot of really capable and savvy college students who help out, and they grew up online. They can do social media and any kind of posting or anything related to the computer in their sleep. They just know it like I will never know it. I do match them with clients that have those kinds of basic needs that they can fulfill. And then if it's something that's a little more, you need somebody who's really good on the phone, who can make follow-up calls, and you want someone who's more seasoned, who's either owned a business before or had experience working in a business. And that's a lot of the adults who work with me. And a lot of them are moms as well, who used to be a lawyer, or they used to be a whatever. They had their kids, they stayed home, and now the kids are older and they're like, I got to get out there again. So they come and work with us, and they're so great because they know how to do everything. Moms are excellent time managers, because we know in the morning it's like, drop that kid off, jam, 2:00, go get that kid, I'm done. So it's a great job for moms, because they can work while their kids are in school, and we can set the schedule that way. And then they're done. When they pick up their kid, it's over. They've told me working with you has changed my life, because I really was just floundering at home. I used to do this, and now I don't do anything. My kids don't need me in the same way. This has given me the boost that I need.
Wow, that is really great. And again, these are trustworthy people that have brought on board. Wow, that's really cool. Now, what if someone was interested in working for you? Do you take applications?
Yes. People call me all the time, and I'm always open to hiring because we're just busier and busier. And I'm always looking for people who have a particular skill that I might not have within my realm. So I just tell people to reach out to me, send me your resume and a couple of references. I do all the hiring myself because that's important to me. I don't fob that off on anyone. I meet with them. I explain how we work because it is a little different from a traditional like office job, for example. Go over all of that and make sure they feel comfortable with what we do. If it's a good fit, then they're in. We run the check and we're off.
You are really providing the answer to a huge pain point for entrepreneurs. Wow. Yes. That is excellent. And I love your branding on your website. It's like the 50s look of the telephone. I just love that. It's really a fun interface. So I want people to check it out, and we'll have the link in the show notes. You also have something on your website I have to ask you about. It's the Earthquake Preparedness Kit.
Yes, that was born of a client who asked me for one. She said, could you make one for me? And sure. So we went and got it all together, and we made her two versions, actually one for the house and one for her car. And as we were doing it, we were like, oh yeah, we live in California. Everybody needs this. I didn't have one. So I had one made for myself, same thing, home and the car. And then we started promoting it because we all needed it ourselves. So it was like, if we need it, then everybody else probably needs it too.
That's excellent. And in your past, before Girl Friday, were you a designer or something? I was looking at your LinkedIn. I was trying to figure that one out.
Yeah. So actually the person who designed my website, Mika Mingeson, she was my former design partner. She's the creative one. I was doing exactly what I do now, which is project management. So we had a creative services business together, and she would do all the design. We worked with Toyota and a lot of smaller business, but we did have some bigger clients. And we did everything from setting up the photo shoot to writing the copy. And when I say we, not her and I, but we had our pool of resources. And I still work with a lot of those people because, again, entrepreneurs will say, oh my God, I don't even have a website, or I hate my website, or I need some copy for ABC. I still have all those people in my world. So we can help to that extent as well.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome. Cindi, how can people work with you? How can they get a hold of you? Where do you hang out and all that stuff?
Yes, we're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. I love talking to people directly on the phone, which I know is old school, but it really helps me get a handle on what they need, because sometimes people think they need one thing. And as we start talking about it, it's, you do need that, but you have 3 things you need to do before you get to that. So let's figure those out. We're good at breaking it down into manageable chunks. And often I think people are taken aback because I will come back to them very quickly and say, okay, here's what we have. This person can come Tuesday. And then they're like, oh, wait, it's actually happening. Oh my God, they're not ready because they've been putting it off or thinking about it for so long. The minute they call us, we start making it a reality for them. So yes, call me. I answer all my texts and emails myself. And again, I love to have a chat with anyone. So that's the best way.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Cindi. It was great having you on the show.
Thank you. I loved it. You're so fun. And you have a great husband. I'm going to give him a shout out.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, this is Heather. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. If you found value in the show, I'd really appreciate it if you gave me a rating on iTunes, or just simply tell a friend about it. And if you're interested in learning more about my profit advising and coaching, please set up a discovery call by using the link in the show notes. All right. Thanks so much, and see you next time.